Which organizations set these technology standards? Well, they can fall into a couple different categories. You could have a single company. Lenovo, for instance, could set standards, or you could have associations of companies setting standards. We have commercial standards setting bodies. These would be like ASTM or ANSI. What happens is these are not companies that produce products. Those are companies that allow other companies to get together and agree on a standard. After agreement on the standard, it's published as an open standard and anybody can adopt it. Formal commercial standards bodies is the one that we're most interested in here, because these bodies produce open standards where there's competition among the standards. Some standards, remember, are produced by government bodies. It's possible that the government or any bureau of the government, any government, could set a standard. If they do, it becomes a mandatory standard. Every firm has to adopt that particular standard. We don't have any choice if it's a mandated standard. But there are also standards at different levels. Some standards are adopted worldwide, and some standards are adopted on a particular continent, or just simply adopted perhaps by a particular country. If we take a look at telecommunications standards, some of them tend to be regional, some of them tend to be global. Some of them are telecommunications standards for the communication of electromagnetic waves, and some of them are information technology standards. There are standards about how you encode the information to send in the electromagnetic wave as well. The important point is that there's more than one standard setting organization, and there clearly are competing standards. There's also a great deal of information between the standard setting organizations, as there should be. You and I benefit from this. Let's take a look at a representative standard setting organization. This is the International Telegraphic Union, the ITU. It started out in 1934. The ITU covers all forms of wireline and wireless communication. Today, the ITU has more than 5,000 member organizations, and it deals specifically with telecommunications standardization and ensuring the efficient and on-time production of high-quality standards, covering all the fields of telecommunications. The ITU doesn't actually make any physical products. The ITU works in a non-binding recommendation manner. In other words, these are open standards, and many of the standards we use in wireless today come from the ITU. How does that standard setting process work? Well, a company, or probably a number of different firms or individuals working in an area, see a need for a standard. And what they'll do is they'll take that to a technical body, like the American National Standards Institute or the ITU. The standard setting body will work to draft the standard. This is a voluntary process. Anybody can take part in setting the standard, but there has to be general agreement about what's drafted in the standard. For example, if one particular company in an industry, say Verizon, wants a particular feature, and another company, Sprint, wants a very different feature, they will have to reach a compromise. All companies involved in drafting a standard are going to have to compromise to produce the published standard. Once the standard is adopted, it's approved, then it's promoted, and finally it's published. If it's an open standard, remember, it's free to use. Anybody who wants to use it can. There is a natural tendency to want to use the standard if a lot of other people are also going to use the standard. The open and published standard has a network effect. We will all be better off if we follow the standard than if each of us follows some proprietary rule. It's also the case that with many things moving to wireless, we're going to be much better off in wireless devices if we're able to communicate with each other.